Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is late night on Sunday. Technically, it's early Monday morning. The Oscars ended a few hours ago. I've been sort of collecting my thoughts, doing a couple other things too, not just collecting my thoughts, but I figured I would give you the immediate, post-Oscar wrap-up LonsTV episode because I just, finished watching the show tonight, and I figured I would just do it right now, get it out of the way while it's all fresh in my head. First off, I saw a lot. I was on Twitter. I was sort of tweeting all through the show. I like to watch shows, and as long as I'm watching something live, and I think everybody else is too, if I think of something funny or silly or goofy to say, I just tweet it out. So I was doing that during the show, and I noticed a lot of people were tweeting like they were really proud of themselves for not watching the Oscars. Like, this is just commercialism and trash, and I don't watch trash, and I'm taking a nap instead, or I'm watching a DVD or something. It's like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind if you don't want to watch the Oscars. This is not for everybody. I understand that, but you don't get to be proud. It's like there aren't any other TV shows that people feel like they can be proud that they didn't watch. Every day, there are literally thousands of television shows that are airing that you don't watch, and yet people don't walk around like, I didn't watch Judge Judy today because I'm awesome and I'm a nonconformist. And it's like, you just didn't watch a show. It doesn't take any effort to not watch a show. I don't care about the Super Bowl. I don't care about, American Idol, but I'm not walking around, puffed up like I'm so great because I don't care about, Glee or whatever. Like, some people like it, some people don't. That's why there's channels. And so anyway, just a general note for next time. We don't care that you don't like the Oscars. Just don't talk about it for that evening. That'll be fine. That will express the idea that you don't care about the Oscars just fine. That's adequate. Speaking of people who don't care about the Oscars, James Franco, and I think it's fine if he doesn't care about the Oscars or he thinks they're silly or dumb, but then maybe don't agree to host them. I didn't really get, I think maybe he thought that would be, funny or sort of, he would become, some sort of hipster hero if he hosted the show, but, arched his eyebrows to let you know, he wasn't really into it and he thought it was dumb, but it just made the whole thing, painful to watch. It was just dragging on endlessly, and he wasn't really even getting his lines out because he was so busy doing this, people were saying he was stoned, and maybe he was stoned. I think that's certainly possible. I wouldn't put it past him. But at the same time, it's just he could have just been doing it as a bit, he's the Oscar host who doesn't really think it's that cool to be an Oscar host. But it just made the show unpleasant, and I feel like why ruin everybody's good time by doing the show if you're not going to be into it? Just let Anne Hathaway do it on her own. She was kind of a little shrill and irritating, but at least she was just handling the work professionally. The whole show, even Franco aside, was just really low energy, really awkward. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I think it just got off to an awkward start, and from then on, it never really built up. But especially the first half hour, 40 minutes, it was just so flat. Nobody really seemed like they wanted to be there, that it was into it. It didn't really have that feeling of being a big event. Even it just was really, and everybody the whole night seemed to sort of stammer and have trouble getting their words out. I don't think it was tied into King's speech. A lot of people, I'm sure, made that observation, but it was there was a whole kind of just an oddness to the show this year. At least usually it's slow and really silly and over the top, but at least it kind of moves because they're all entertainment professionals. Didn't really feel like that this year. Okay, as for the actual, even Kate Blanchett, people who are usually very erudite and capable of getting through a couple sentences on a teleprompter seem to be stumbling and having trouble. On to the actual awards. I was happy to see Wally Pfister finally win. He's been doing a lot of great stuff in Nolan films for years now. And he did another great job in Inception, and he finally won. Obviously, Roger Deakins, who shoots all the Coen Brothers movies, also really deserved to win this year, and every time they collaborate. And he's done amazing work in other films, too. Assassination of Jesse James, not a Coen Brothers movie, but shot by Deakins, and just unbelievably beautiful. So I'm sure he'll win eventually. He really deserves it, but it was nice to see Pfister get up there. He's been doing great work for years, as I said. Melissa Leo took supporting actress. I don't feel like I have to get into it again. I talked about it a couple times on This Week in Movies in this show. Not into the performance. I like Melissa Leo, although I like Melissa Leo in films. After tonight, I'm not sure if I like her in person, but I didn't think this was one of her finest performances. I thought it was kind of a silly, overdone character, but her speech was insane and endless. It didn't really seem to go anywhere. I couldn't even figure out what she was saying half the time. And a lot of people got on her case because she dropped an F-bomb during the show and sort of, realized what she did, and they bleeped it out. But she's also said golly sakes, which is that's a more offensive expression to me than the F word. Golly sakes. Geez, really? you're not on Little House. Like, it's the Oscars. Class it up a little bit. I would have loved to see Haley Steinfeld win in this category, or lead actress. I mean, I thought that was easily one of the performances of the year, and it would have been nice to see True Grit get something. True Grit got shut out all night, and I thought it was like the best movie of the year. Moving on, adapted screenplay. Aaron Sorkin took it for The Social Network. Very deserved, I think. Probably my favorite screenplay of the entire year. I started to get a feeling. I mean, it was you figured Sorkin was a lock, or at least very likely to get it. The script was talked about sort of all year, but it was an early indication. Like, a lot of the time, they'll throw the screenplay awards at like the popular movies that nevertheless aren't going to win anything else, like Juno and those kind of things. So maybe in a little early indication that Social Network was not going to take a lot of the top categories, which of course it did not. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, Wolfman wins for Best Makeup, and now, Wolfman is an Academy Award-winning movie. And honestly, I noticed, too, the shots that they showed, like the montage of like the why it's winning for Best Makeup, was mostly CGI shots. So you would think that they could at least find like a good example. There was real practical effects and makeup used in the film, but nothing in the film looked that good. I mean, Rick Baker's a genius. He's done amazing work on a ton of other films, but not this one. It really was not a great looking film. I probably would have given it actually to Barney's version out of the nominees. The aging effects on Paul Giamatti and Rosamund Pike, I think her name is, were very impressive, and at least it's a better film, and it's more in the service of doing something interesting and realistic rather than like the 100th cheesy guy turning into a werewolf scene, which was not even particularly well done in that film. Costume design, Colleen Atwood won for Alice in Wonderland and is clearly insane, and used her speech to like praise the film. It's like, okay, you did a good job, the costumes are good, but like, oh, it's all the Mia's magical acting and Johnny Depp being such a genius. Like, that movie sucks. It doesn't make you seem humble to be talking about how great the movie is. It just makes you seem out of it and delusional. Like, I feel like Tim Burton would be like, oh, it's okay, the movie sucks. Great costumes, although those gloves look silly on you, but the movie, come on. What else do I want to talk about? Tom Hooper winning for King's Speech. I mean, I'm not even trying to knock King's Speech. I liked King's Speech. King's Speech is a good movie, but King's Speech is like, it's a handsome, well-produced HBO original movie type movie. Like, if you like it, great. But it's clearly it's like an actor's showcase. I mean, give Firth the award. I have no problem with that. I thought Firth was great in that movie. Even Jeffrey Rush is really good. Like, I thought those are the kind of awards. Maybe costumes or something, sets if you want to give it some more stuff. But it's not a director's showcase, that movie. I mean, it's really, he didn't do much. I don't think that's really like over the top, like noticeable and intricate. Or I don't even think he had a real challenge laid before him. I mean, that kind of storytelling is like, fairly standard. And he's done it before on a more elaborate scale in something like John Adams for HBO. I mean, that's just the kind of filmmaking that it felt like. Whereas, I mean, you have something like The Social Network, and there's just so much more going on. Fincher's like, there's juggling timelines and different narratives that he's got to keep straight. He's turning one actor into twins. He's making Mark Zuckerberg sympathetic, this like billionaire who's like so standoffish and awkward to be around. People think he's autistic. And for maybe the first time in cinematic history, he's turned the act of computer programming into something that's like entertaining and compelling on its own merits. Like, he actually made a film about working on websites and working on the internet that's interesting, and that's not like cheating by not really being about that. Like, it's really about that. And that's a huge achievement, and to give it to, the well done, handsome, overall praiseworthy period drama, the HBO type movie is just, it's just weird to me. I mean, it's weird to me to give it Best Picture, but it's especially weird to me to give it Best Director over David Fincher. I think clearly was more deserving of that award. I mean, I think Christopher Nolan also, but he wasn't even nominated. So that's basically my take. I mean, Portman, we all knew she was going to win. She was great, although I still think I'd rather see Michelle Williams or Jennifer Lawrence get it. And Firth, I'm glad to see Firth win. He's been great in a long time, and he was great in this movie. So that's my Oscar take. I will be back. I'll try to do another Monday episode, and I will see everybody on the next episode of LonsTV.